Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Manifesting with the Moon. We are one person down today. Unfortunately, Emily is not feeling up to it, but Steph and I are going to be here to walk you through the new moon, which is happening tonight on May 26th, 2025 at, I have this 11:03 p.m. Eastern Time. But before we get into the new moon, what do you say we talk about what happened during this last full moon stuff? What do you think? How did you feel about this last full moon?
I think that for me, I think I definitely, since the full moon, I definitely feel like I've let go of quite a few things one of my intentions was to let go of what I possibly could and I'd outgrown and I was still holding on to. And I definitely feel like I've done that this month because we're coming into this new phase and things already feel a little bit easier. They're landing on my desk, but I'm also intentionally looking out for these possibilities. So, the possibilities of doing things easily. So, in my therapy space, for example, I've been thinking about creating a new course for my clients. And hey presto, I came across a course which already had the structure. I could just add all of my professional side and my personality into the course and sell it as a complete product. It was like, yes, this is what I was after. So basically, I now am putting together a really lovely 30-day course that has already basically someone else has worked out how to split it all up and how, but I'm bringing me to the course and bring all of my skills and adding it into that structure. That was what I was looking for. Ease, easy, simple, just let it all fall into place.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
I love it when
yeah,
everything falls into place like the Tetris puzzles where they just fall into like so easily. It's so
yeah.
satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really feel like I'm letting go of things being complicated or things being chaotic. I've been so used to almost making things more difficult. Have I been almost like suspicious of things like, this is almost too good to be true. And actually, there's stuff out there that, no, it's been landing on my desk going, here I am for you. And I've been pushing it away. I'm pushing it away. I'm pushing it away. Now, with this intention of releasing some of this chaos and making things difficult for myself, I'm actually opening my eyes and going, oh, you've been kind of saying here it is all along, and I've been ignoring you.
I know when you realize that these things have been coming up and that you have been dismissing them as potential opportunities, it's almost like a, oh, really moment. So that's very
Yeah.
exciting. I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's also about I've we are intentionally using the moon. So this has been about as much as anything else, letting go of that because since the full moon, letting go of that. Am I making this difficult for myself? Am I bringing chaos into my life? So really just letting go of that, I think has been why now we're getting to the new moon and we can set our intentions at this space. And it's like, okay, so now I've cleared all of that lot away. I can probably set some really nice, strong intentions this new moon.
Yes, I agree because I feel like the full moon, like it amplifies everything so much and kind of makes you more aware. And then as you're starting to work your way down or come down off of that high vibe energy in the new moon, you're like, oh, look at all this that came in. I wasn't expecting it from this area. I wasn't expecting it from that area. And then all of a sudden it is right here. And you're like, oh, I can sit with this for a second and see what came in, what I may have missed, what I may have dismissed, so that it can kind of just help you as you're moving on into the next cycle.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So how about you?
Awesome.
How's the period been since your full moon?
Oh, it's been amazing. I
Tell me
don't know.
more.
Yeah, I have. I had my big thing with fear come up. We talked about that in our members section in our Patreon group. And so I had all of that come up. And I made this like little flow chart on this new moon, which by the way, if you guys want to get a copy of these, you can go over to our Patreon. It's going to be linked below and grab yourself a free copy of this so that you can have a little worksheet to work along to and do with us and keep so that you can keep track of your manifestations. But I had this like little flow chart where I was like, okay, I was releasing fear, and these are all the areas in my life where I was releasing them, which was a lot more than I had anticipated. And I kind of just think that once I recognized them coming in from the different areas like you, I was like, oh, this is not even something that was even in my realm of thought. But now that I
Yeah.
recognize it, I can be like, shoop, shoop, no more. I don't want you here. Bye.
Yeah.
So that was very satisfying. And so it's been a really exciting time.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That sounds really, really positive.
Yeah.
Is there an option for people to put into the Patreon how they're meant to be underneath this space as well? So any of our
Yes.
members will say?
Absolutely. So you can become a Patreon member for free and you can just be part of our group, and you're going to have access to the new moon and full moon videos, and you'll be able to comment underneath there at any point and tell us, what's going on with you and what ways we can support you and everything, because we want this to be a supportive community. But if you want a little bit more
Hmm.
information moving forward through the month and through the different phases and everything, you can join us as a member, a paid subscription, and you're going to get all of those goodies. And then we recently also just posted in our shop a lovely Manifesting with the Moon journal that's Stephanie created. So if you want to go over there, you can do that as a one-time purchase, and you'll have like a complete, like, I think it's like 24 pages of PDFs, worksheets that you can print off or do digitally and work your way through it so you can have this record as you're moving through. Because when you start tracking, as I'm realizing, and I've tried to track several times in my life, especially over the last 5 years, I'm kind of really terrible at sticking with the moon. Even though I really, really want to, I have a hard time like just keeping track of what is going on. So having this planner, I think, is going to be very helpful for me personally. So
Great.
yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah. I think it will be helpful. I think it's great. It's got all of the different phases, just as a reminder. It's
Mhm.
got a space that, like Kristy just held up and showed you, that's just got all of the sort of like the bits that you can fill in and in particular for the new moon is what we're obviously featuring today. But yeah, I think getting to know all of the different phases of the moon, and those will all be in Patreon, and they're going to keep being added as
Mhm.
the membership
Mhm.
grows.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, speaking of moon phases, shall we just dive into the new moon stuff?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, okay, before we dive in, I do want to say, so over on in our membership, I did post about this book by Jan Spiller. It's called New Moon Astrology. Can you see that? Am I blowing
Yeah.
up with the light? Okay. So there's a picture of it over there. And I found this book. I had bought it several years ago, and it's really interesting. It's all about manifesting specifically with the new moon phases. But in this book, she goes into very deep into the astrological stuff, but she says that she's been experimenting with making wishes. She calls it making wishes, which is different than setting intentions. And so she
Okay.
has it broken down like, okay, when the new moon is in Gemini, these are the things that you should focus on and make wishes for. And she says she's been doing this for 21 years and she's like manifested all kinds of stuff. So I was like, oh, what a fun experiment to try.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in diving a little bit further into the new moon, pick up this book um, and kind of read through it, because it was quite powerful. I was like shocked. And it's interesting because in this book also, astrologically, you have like this certain phase when you're so when something is in your 11th house, it's probably the moon. I don't know. I don't really, astrology is interesting, but I can't go too deep into it. But during some certain time, you have this like power period that's specific for you where you can make like all of these wishes and it just feels really souped up. Every time I
Yeah.
pick up this book, I am like living in this personal power phase. And I have to tell you, like, I started like writing down, I was like, I'm just going to write down some wishes that I want. And all of them are not all of them, but like I can like start, I have started to see some momentum on them already. And it's only been
Wow,
a
this
couple of
is
days.
great.
Yeah. So it's really exciting. So if you're like, oh yeah, I want to get into the new moon and everything like, and I want to go a little bit deeper, this is a great book to pick up. But
Great.
we're not going to go into it today because that's not our jam. We're just going to not keep it light because we like to go deep, but we're just going to keep it simple. So, Steph,
Okay.
what do you think about the new moon? Tell me what you associate the new moon with.
Okay, so for me, it's all about setting intentions, new beginnings. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost, for me, it's like, right, we're here, we finished that cycle. For me, this almost like feels like a huh, blank slate. And in a way, that's why I think about it as like wiping the slate clean, because obviously slates are black. And here in the UK in schools, that's what everyone used to write with. And so, so for me, it does feel like new moon, blank slate. What do I want to or desire? And I think that's the key
Mm-hmm.
as well. It's about desiring. This is my time of desiring, finding that feeling of not just wanting something, not needing it, but what I really desire. It's got a richness to it. And I think this for me is about the new moon. It's about what do I really desire? What do I really dream of? Because these are the moments of magic, because there's no limitations. It's almost like, oh, I don't know, like midnight, isn't it? When you look at the sky in and it's dark and you see all of the constellations, but then the longer you look in there at the night sky, there's hundreds of thousands of stars, and you don't see them to start with, you just see the constellations. And that's in a way, it's almost like it's not just what you want, it's your desire. So you've got to through, go through the constellations into the darkness to find that thing that you really want to see and be open up to it. Because if you're not open up to seeing more stars, you will only see the constellations. You will literally just limit your own beliefs. So this is your time to kind of immerse yourself, think, dive in. That's how I feel about the new moon. How about you?
I love that. I'm like visualizing like swimming through the cosmos and looking at the constellations as they pass by, like trying to find my desires. I love that. What a great
Yeah,
image.
digging it, just swimming through, just
Yeah.
beautifully, graciously swimming through
Yes.
in the darkness, no fear, just indulging yourself in finding and seeking.
Yes. That's a great visual that I'm definitely going to use next time I'm meditating. So for me, the full or the new moon it's also and I never really thought about it as desires. I really looked at it as more of a going inward and resting in a like reflection period because
Oh,
the moon is so intense at the full moon period and then you have like it's shining and shining and shining and all of a sudden it's dark and it's like okay great like you give me a break from this energy so I'm just going to sit and try to integrate what you just gave me and what
yeah,
you brought up for me to deal with and I guess I've always looked at it as a relief because sometimes the full moon is really intense. Like when we had that full blood moon a couple of months ago, oh my gosh, it was so intense.
yeah,
So I needed that
yeah,
new
you're right.
moon to just take a breath and everything. So,
Yeah,
but I think it kind of takes time for you to get to that place too, right? You really have to develop a relationship with the moon in your own way so that you can flow with it with how it feels good and that obviously evolves over time so I'm definitely as I
mm,
am going into this new moon tonight I'm definitely like okay I was riding high on the full moon now I want to kind of look forward and see through the cosmos what I want to pull into my realm and start
yeah,
manifesting or at least um deciding what I want to manifest, right? Those
Yeah,
change too.
yeah, absolutely. I think that sounds great. Is there anything specific that you want to set your intention for? And when you do set intentions, I know that you and I, when we set intentions or we visualize, we tend to do this slightly differently, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to be a very visual, almost manifester, but for you, it's a very different experience.
Yeah, I really try to sit with the feeling that I want, which
Hmm.
is usually ease. I like a good easy going thing, and I kind of like to take an observer approach and kind of like see the puzzle fall into place outside of me. And so mine is all about like, how do I want to feel? How does this make me
Yeah.
feel? So yeah, that's what I usually intend. I have a hard time coming up with very concrete desires or things to manifest or even wishes. So this is like a very different practice for me. But when I can come up with something and then just like kind of push it off and set it and forget it, it kind of tends to work better for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah. So, whereas for me, I have to be able to perceive it to be able to
Mm.
manifest it. So, I wouldn't be able to manifest a holiday unless I've thought of the holiday that I want to
Mm.
manifest. So, I would have to think about, I'd love to be by a beach and I'd love to be in a luxurious hotel and I'd like to be the sand to be white. I can then manifest that. But if I just go, I'd like to manifest a holiday, that's not enough for me to be able to do it. I might be able to sit with the feeling of relaxing
Mm.
and it just being quiet, but I won't manifest that way. I have to more or less visualize where I'm going so that I can actually go there. A bit like, I'd actually have to have thought of the country, for instance,
Mm.
before I can actually really make that reality. So a holiday would be one thing, but I'd have to really refine it too. Am I looking for a beach and relaxing? Am I looking for a touring around or an investigating a country and, be exploring? I'd have to at least have decided what I wanted to go in that direction. Otherwise, I end up just stuck and I'm not moving because I haven't invested my intention, I don't
Mm.
think, completely. So for me, visual intentions are really, really helpful for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's great. And I think that is very true for a lot of people. And so it's definitely something to play with. It's not something that, you're
Yeah.
going to know immediately. And it could be even audibly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So sometimes, like, I have no idea, somebody's like, oh, wouldn't a vacation be nice? I'm like, oh, yeah, vacation would be nice. And then I have to start listening to what people are saying, like, no, that doesn't sound good. Oh, but that sounds kind of good. And I don't even realize that I want it until someone says it. So just kind of play around with how you pull your
Yeah.
intentions. And that can be a really fun way to experiment.
Yeah. It would be fun. I wonder if you could do it by taste, by, I don't know, eating lots of coconut or something like that. And then it sort of like sums up that sort of tropical beach or having fruit for breakfast helps you kind of conjure up that place of eating lovely fresh fruit in a gorgeous hotel. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely. You could, right?
I think the key thing is it's about playing. It's that lightness. Anything to do with manifestation is around that fun, light. When it gets heavy, you're not manifesting. Manifesting is much lighter. Desiring is
Yes.
is light.
Yes. It's like going through to a huge buffet and just being like, I have an endless appetite. What looks good at the moment? What smells good at the moment? What might taste good at the moment, right? What feels
Yeah,
good in my hands? You have to kind of play with it. Don't take it so seriously. It's not that deep.
yeah. So for you, with your setting intentions, do you like to write things down just so that you've got a bit of a record in a journal or anything?
Well, I haven't in the past, but I'm definitely going to
Okay.
try to do that moving forward. And so I'm finding that it's very helpful for me to know, specifically, not because I'm super into astrology per se, even though I do find it fascinating. I do find it really nice to know what sign the moon is currently in, so I can be like, okay, what does this feel like right now? And so when I'm doing this new moon right now, the new moon is going to be in Gemini tonight, and so I'm like, okay, what does Gemini feel like to me, and what does Gemini mean? And so I'm going to try to stick with it astrologically just to kind of experiment with that and see how that plays out over this next year or so and see if there is any correlation or if I am like just going willy nilly, free for all. We're just going to see.
Okay, so based on that, what is the essence of Gemini in this new moon so that our members can also benefit from it if they want to play with it too?
Okay. So, from what I can tell, typically Gemini is kind of it vibes with learning and communication and calm, but I also like to go a little bit deeper. So I looked up I looked up the mythology behind the constellation Gemini. Do you want me to tell it to you?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. So in ancient Greek times, there was this queen named Leda, I believe. Okay. And she was married to the king of Sparta. And she was a very beautiful woman, as most queens in Greece are. And Zeus took a liking to her. And even though she was married, he decided that he just wanted to, hang out with her. Okay. And so he turned himself into a swan and went down and kind of cuddled up with her one night. And she went and cuddled up that same night with her husband, which resulted in four siblings, two twins, Castor and Pollux, and then Helen, which we know she's very famous, right? And Clytemnestra. Okay. So, but anyways, we're going to talk about Castor and Pollux. So the constellation of Gemini is based on the mythology of Castor and Pollux, who are twins. Now, Castor, I believe, is the son of the king. I can't remember his name, but he's mortal. Okay. And Pollux
Okay.
is the son of Zeus, but they're twins, right? And so they have this very strong brotherly bond. And so when Pollux ends up dying, no, when Castor ends up dying, Pollux is obviously devastated and begs Zeus, please let me die with my brother so that we can stay together forever. And Zeus is like, no, how about this? And he cuts a deal and he says, if you will give up part of your immortality, you can save your brother. But the deal is that you guys have to split your time between Mount Olympus and the underworld. So, and to commemorate this brotherly bond, we put a constellation in the sky that is now Gemini. Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really lovely.
Yeah. So I thought it was
So
very
they could
interesting.
so they could spend the rest of their lives in together.
Yes, it's very nice. It's um very poetic, but it's also like to me that's the essence of Gemini, which is not just brotherly love, but it's also almost like community in a way. Like how can we
Yeah.
pull together and lift each other out of things? So that's also the kind of feeling that I'm going to try to set my intentions around, I think, this month,
Yeah.
along with the
I like that.
communication. Yeah.
I think when you've just said that, I'm thinking I'm going to focus on communication.
Mm,
What I think I'm going to do is also use that energy because it feels quite sort of it's summery and everything's growing and visible. So I think I might do things like deleting things. So thinking about intention, communication, improving communication, and only seeing communication that's for my highest good or for the self that I have right now. So anybody, I think, any email list or communication that I have been on there, for instance, on their list or on their email list, and I'm not really opening and all of those things, I think I'm going to start clearing out my inbox
mm,
because then I'm clearing out and then I'm bringing in. So this is that thing about communication. I want to have really on point sound emails winging their way into my inbox so that I am more in alignment to where I am now. And I'm
Mhm.
not receiving all of the stuff that was from me maybe up to even like 4 or 5 years ago. It could be,
Mm.
quite, I'm just thinking some of those email lists I think I've signed it up to. Well, when the children were really small. So
Yeah.
I think that this could be a really good way of my intention is actually to only really be seeing and receiving communication that's to the energy level that I am now. And
Mm.
in order to make sure I do that, I'm also going to make sure that I'm releasing behind me that all of the stuff that I've outgrown. So before that new moon comes in tonight, I'm going to go and declutter my inbox. And then
Ooh.
my focus now can be on communication that's for the where I am now and
Mm.
continue to grow and maybe in the right direction.
Oh, I love that. That's a great idea. I might copy that. That's
Why
such a good
not?
idea.
Why not? Well, I just like that. I like the idea of just almost like using that bit around the Gemini, that
Mhm.
communication. And I'm thinking, how could I do that? How could I
Yeah,
do that?
absolutely. I love that. Let me think here. I've been trying to decide what I want to do. I think that okay, I am a serial course taker. Like I love taking courses. I
Good.
love looking at them and like kind of mulling them over and saying, do I want to do this? And I have several that are in my that I have access to that I just have not quite taken the time. And since um I think I attract them too, right? Because I love learning and I love like learning about all new different like modalities and everything. So I
Hmm.
kind of attract them. And so I think I'm really going to try to be more intentional about things that are more relevant for me. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try to play around I think with the law of polarity. Okay? So for me like I was like, "Oh, Castor and Pollux Troy, what a great chance to kind of play around with opposites, right? Mount Olympus, underworld. I kind of want to see like I kind of want to maybe look at all the courses that come up and get my initial gut reaction and then I want to do it after a day and then I kind of want to do it after a couple of days because I always have a hard time making decisions anyways. I really have to sit with it because of my emotional authority. So I kind of want to just see like is this particular thing something that comes up for me multiple times or is this something that just came up once and it's just very pretty and interesting and maybe I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to just see like what I am pulling in consistently and go from there. I want to be more intentional with my time and my thought process because I will, find a
Okay.
course inevitably and I will think about it like, do I want to take this? Do I want to take this? And then 3 days later, I can't even remember what it was. I put too much energy
So
into it initially.
maybe on this new moon, it would be a really good opportunity for you to almost, I'm going to say this, put this in order so that you almost like, because another thing about manifesting is make sure you know where you are,
Mm-hmm,
is
mm-hmm.
maybe you need to write down all the courses you have signed up to and whether or not you have either completed them, partially completed them, all of those things, just so that you actually know your baseline. Because if we were doing manifesting for money, the first thing we'd be talking about was, well, what money have you got? Because
Yes.
actually, you familiarizing yourself with what you've already got, your baseline, is part of them being able to build onto where you're going next. So,
Yes.
using the same principle, maybe this is your time to do a spreadsheet or a
Oh, I
paper
feel so
version.
gutted right now. It's you see
Well,
me so well, Steph.
well, maybe a paper version that's more of a list. But I
I
just
can
kind of
just throw it
think
away.
maybe, yeah, but maybe there is something about there just kind of getting it all together, gathering
Yes.
so that you can then make sure that where you go next is on point.
Yes. And I think there's also something about like taking stock and inventory of what I already have accessible to me and then being like, does this still resonate with me? Because I mean, some of these courses, sadly to say. Like I probably started them and then just left them, and now I'm not interested in with them, but they're still kind of like hanging out in my energetic aura, like saying,
Yeah.
"Take me, Kristy. No, take me. We don't want that."
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. In fact, if some of those courses don't resonate now, it's about letting those go, isn't it? Rather than
absolutely.
dragging them behind along with you, because we don't want any more dragging stuff along with you, because this is a
No.
new moon.
Yes. We want to let it go and then initiate the law of vacuum so more good stuff can come in. So I can get more good courses that really resonate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a bit like me
Yes.
and my email list. I need to get rid of all of those email lists about
Mhm.
parenting and move on to whatever the email lists are that I want to
Yes.
be listening to now.
Yes, absolutely. So
Mm.
that's the new moon in a nutshell. So I am manifesting we'll say clarity and more space for what I really want. Just to kind of keep it simple. That's what I'm going to write down. I intend to be more intentional about energy suckers that are
Yeah,
not really
I like
resonating with
that.
me now. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
you?
So my intention is to have communication from people
Mm,
that is for my highest good or for my 2.0 self,
yes.
rather than holding on to what I've got at the moment, because I think I need to do some releasing because I don't need, I don't want to drag that to this new moon. I'm going to really sort of up level that sort of communication. Maybe I'll get rid of people who aren't following me anymore,
Yeah.
or that, who aren't clicking emails from me, all of those things. But I think, yeah, just a general clear out so that then I'm getting the communication and I'm improving my communication with people who want to hear from me and I want to hear from them.
Yes. And I think that's good too, because when you clear out all that excess stuff, it makes your message more clear and it probably resonates more with other people too,
Yeah,
right? And so you want to
yeah,
hit the right people
yeah,
always.
absolutely. So, and part of that communication is going to be as part of my what I want to set the intention for is to make my new course for my business
Mm.
available over this new moon period. So I think that would be a good thing to focus on.
Oh, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah,
Okay. That was very robust of us. That was a great conversation, Steph. Thank
it was
you.
great. It's always good to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, do you have anything else that you want to add about this new moon that people should maybe think about either focusing on or like little tidbits that you want to throw out there?
I don't think anything other than if you like manifesting in a certain way, we just said about the visual and the feeling. If you like manifest it, hit it below so that other people can hear how you like manifesting,
Mm-hmm.
because so that everyone realizes it's really unique to you. There is not one size fits all. So just because I need to be able to see where I'm going doesn't mean that everyone else does. I'm not a big fan of vision boards, but certainly just having a picture in my mind is all that I need. But
Mm-hmm.
some people, they need a physical picture. No, there's no right or wrong. So stick it in the comments and so that other people can benefit as well.
Absolutely. And if you want more support about this new moon or the full moon next month, come over to our Patreon, become a free member, and comment over there so that we can respond and support you in whatever way. And just comment how you are also manifesting because it's really helpful for other people. I can't tell you how many insights I have personally had just from someone mentioning, like, oh, this is what I think about this thing. And I'm like, whoa, that totally makes sense. And it kind of shifted my perspective completely. So you might be thinking,
Yeah,
well, like, no, this is what I do. And it's so random or strange that nobody could relate to it at all. Don't be like that at all because you just never know who it's going to help further on. And
yeah,
that's what the point of this is to kind of help everyone, you know, up level a little bit.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we will meet you guys over on our Patreon group. All of those links are below in the comments. And I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks to see how the moon is treating us then. Sound good, Steph?
Sounds great. See you then.
Right. Bye.